Back in 2017, I was living in St. Petersburg, Florida. I wasn't the type of person who liked going out. I felt safer at home, in my routine, where everything was predictable. So when my coworker Jenna kept asking me to go out with her and another girl from work, I kept saying no. She was younger than me, more outgoing, always talking about clubs and nightlife. I had lived in St. Pete for 4 years, but I barely knew anything beyond my neighborhood. The farthest I usually drove was a few miles to Walmart. The idea of going somewhere crowded, loud, and unfamiliar already made me uneasy. But after weeks of her pushing, I finally agreed, and that small decision would become one of the most terrifying mistakes of my life. On the night we planned to go out, Jenna came to my apartment and asked if she could leave her car there and have me drive instead. That stressed me out immediately. I hated driving in unfamiliar areas, especially at night, but I didn't want to seem difficult, so I agreed. We picked up Mira from her apartment and headed toward a busy club downtown. I remember gripping the steering wheel tightly, relying completely on GPS, feeling like I was already out of my comfort zone before we even stepped inside. The club was crowded and loud. Music vibrated through my chest. Lights flashed in every direction. I already felt out of place. Not long after we ordered drinks, Jenna said she saw someone she knew and asked Mira to come with her. They left me standing alone near the bar. A few minutes later, they came back smiling. Jenna handed me a drink and said her friend brought us around. I trusted her. She was my coworker. I didn't think twice. I drank it. Then another round came. After the third drink, something changed. The room didn't spin like normal alcohol would cause. Instead, a heavy wave with fear washed over me. My body felt wrong. My thoughts slowed down. My chest felt tight. It wasn't drunkenness. It was something darker, something unnatural. My instincts were screaming that I needed to leave right now. The next clear memory I have is sitting in my car outside Mira's apartment complex. I don't remember leaving the club. I don't remember driving there. I could hear Jenna and Mira talking outside the car, but their words felt distant and strange. Suddenly, something inside me snapped into survival mode. I didn't understand why, but I knew I wasn't safe. I slammed the car into drive and sped away without saying a word. I drove through St. Pete in a complete mental fog. Streetlights blurred together. I couldn't think clearly. I just wanted to get home. At one red light, 2 figures suddenly appeared beside my window. Before I could react, someone pulled on my car door. I froze. My doors automatically lock when the car moves. I knew that, yet somehow the door was being forced open. That shock cut through the fog just enough for me to hit the gas. I sped through the intersection, heart pounding, barely able to focus on the road. After that moment, my memory disappears again. I don't know how long I drove. I don't know where I went. I only remember waking up parked near quiet houses, staring at my phone, unable to even figure out how to unlock it. The drug made everything feel impossible. Even simple tasks felt complicated. I leaned my seat back and passed out. I woke up around 5 a.m. feeling clearer. I turned on GPS and drove home immediately. When I woke up again later that morning, my phone was filled with missed calls from Jenna. When I called her back, she sounded panicked. I told her the truth. Someone spiked my drink. And then she said something that confirmed everything. She admitted the drinks weren't meant for me. That sentence told me she knew. Before she came to pick up her car, I suddenly remembered the 2 men pulling my door. I went outside to check. The plastic casing on my driver's side handle was ripped completely off. That was proof. It wasn't a hallucination. Someone had tried to get into my car while I was drugged and vulnerable. I never spoke to Jenna again. The only reason I'm still alive is because I listened to that feeling deep in my stomach. Sometimes your body knows the danger before your mind does, and sometimes someone starts following you long before you even realize you're being hunted. I live in a lively coastal town that becomes packed with tourists every summer.
During the day, the beach is full of families, dogs running in the sand, and people taking long walks through the dunes. The dunes stretch for miles, rising and falling like soft hills covered in tall grass. They look confusing at first, but everyone knows you can't truly get lost there. Walk far enough in any direction, and you'll reach the beach or the path back to the car park. It's considered safe, calm, familiar. But this happened a few weeks after school started again, when the evenings became darker and the town felt almost empty.
I'm part of a local scout group. Every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. we meet for activities. That night was our first meeting after summer break. As tradition, we gathered at the car park and the younger scouts began walking toward the largest dune, known as the Baldy Man. The older scouts would climb first and the younger ones would follow. When they reached the top, they were officially welcomed into the group. It was meant to be a proud, harmless tradition. A few of us older members stayed behind to practice first aid before heading down. By the time we started walking toward the dunes, it was already much darker. The tide was fully in, so we couldn't walk along the beach. Instead, we had to move through the dunes themselves. There were no streetlights, no torches, just moonlight barely outlining the hills ahead of us.
4 of us decided to push ahead to catch up with the others. We ran up and down the dunes, slipping in the sand and scraping our legs on sharp grass. The hills felt bigger in the dark. Everything looked the same. At one point, we stopped on a ridge to catch our breath. We could see 2 other members far behind us and waved. They waved back. It felt normal, almost peaceful.
As I was tightening my water bottle, Thomas suddenly shushed us. His voice wasn't joking. He asked if we heard something moving in the bushes. None of us did. We told him it was probably the wind, but the air was completely still. No breeze, no sound except our breathing. We shrugged it off and kept moving. Looking back now, that was the moment everything changed. After another long climb, we reached the scouts at the top of the Baldy Man. We congratulated the younger kids quickly, but by then it was fully dark. We decided to head back immediately. We slid down the dune and made our way toward the ridge where we had seen the others waiting. When we reached them, I could see panic on their faces even in the darkness. Cormac looked directly at me and asked if I had been walking alone earlier near a clearing below. I told him no, I had been with the group the entire time. That's when he said they had seen a man dressed completely in black, hood up, circling that clearing. At first, they thought it was one of us, but the way he moved didn't look normal. He kept distance. He avoided being seen. Cormac said that when we left the ridge earlier, the man stepped into the exact spot where we had just been standing, and he stood there, watching in our direction. That's when the rustling Thomas heard finally made sense. We weren't alone in those dunes. Someone had been moving with us in total darkness, without a torch, without making himself known. We decided to move together as one group, safety in numbers. We began heading back toward the car park, sticking close. The dunes felt different now. Every shadow looked like it could hide someone. Every small movement made our hearts race. We were nearly out when one of the younger scouts suddenly screamed. He pointed toward a ridge to the left. There he was, the same man, standing still on top of the ridge, watching us. Even from a distance, something about him felt wrong. Noah shouted that he thought he saw a knife in the man's hand. That was enough. We ran. The older members picked up the younger kids and rushed toward the car park without looking back. I never saw his face. I don't know who he was, but I know he followed us through those dunes, step for step, waiting in the darkness until he wanted us to see him. I worked as a bartender at a small dive bar just a few blocks from my apartment. It wasn't a fancy place. Mostly locals came in late at night for drinks or to watch sports. After my shifts, I usually walked home because it was only about 7 minutes away. I had done that walk so many times that I never thought twice about it. It felt routine, safe, normal. But sometimes, danger hides inside routine. It made me uncomfortable. His name was Jared.
I knew from his credit card. He looked like he was in his late 30s, thinning hair, always wearing the same brown jacket no matter the weather. He never came in with friends. He sat alone at the bar and tried to talk to me the entire time. I would catch him staring, then quickly looking away. His questions slowly became more personal. I stayed polite but distant. One Friday night, he came in like usual around 10 p.m. He drank one beer slowly for almost an hour while watching me work. Near the end, he asked if I wanted to hang out sometime outside of work. I told him calmly that I wasn't interested and preferred to keep work and personal life separate. His face changed instantly. The friendly smile disappeared. He threw cash on the bar and left without tipping.
My shift ended at midnight. I grabbed my hoodie and stepped outside into the quiet street. It was calm, like always. I turned onto the next block when I heard someone say my name. My stomach dropped immediately. I turned and saw Jared standing under a street lamp. I hadn't heard him approach. He gave a small wave and started walking toward me. He apologized for leaving earlier and said he just gets nervous. Then he asked again for my social media, promising he wouldn't bother me. I told him I didn't use social media. He stared at me and smiled in a way that didn't feel friendly. Then he said he had seen me on Instagram before. My heart started racing. That meant he had been looking for me. I told him clearly to leave me alone and started walking again. After a few seconds, I heard footsteps behind me. When I sped up, he sped up. When I slowed down, he slowed down. It felt like a sick game. He stayed just far enough behind me to make sure I knew he was there. My 7-minute walk suddenly felt endless. When I reached my apartment building, I crossed the street instead of going straight inside. I turned to face him. He stopped too, standing under a tree, mostly hidden in shadow. I shouted and asked why he was following me. I lied and said my boyfriend lived with me and I was going inside to get him. The truth was, I lived alone. I rushed to the entrance and punched in the code. The door buzzed open for a few seconds. Just as I pulled it open, I heard fast footsteps running behind me. I glanced back and saw him sprinting toward the door. I ran inside and let it slam shut. I didn't wait to check if it locked. I just ran up the stairs. I could hear the main door downstairs push open hard. He got in. Heavy footsteps hit the stairs, fast and aggressive. My hands were shaking as I tried to unlock my apartment door. I could hear him getting closer. I finally got inside and slammed the door shut, locking it just as he reached the hallway. A second later, his entire body smashed into my door, shaking the frame. He slammed into the door again, harder. Then another apartment door opened and a neighbor shouted, asking what he was doing. The banging stopped immediately. Footsteps rushed back down the stairs. Police later confirmed his full name and charged him with stalking and unlawful entry. I filed for a restraining order. Nothing like that ever happened again, but even now, I still remember the sound of his footsteps matching mine in the dark. Because sometimes the scariest part isn't being attacked. It's realizing someone chose you and decided to follow. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe my channel. See you on next videos. Till then, goodbye.